And one last thing to add to this about humility. When somebody comes and talks real nasty to you, right? And they're condescending to you, it's a good way to put your ego down. So they may have even done you a favor. That may have been, they think they've won over you, but maybe that's a message from Allah, maybe that's a gift from Allah to give you the gift of humility. Maybe that's what it is. This is what Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah used to say. When someone offends me, I think it's a gift from Allah that He's teaching me humility. SubhanAllah. It's a different attitude. Then learn to serve people for the sake of Allah. Give to the, a lot of times people get burnt out. And this is the last thing I want to say about religious folks, right? Especially youth. They do so much activity. They join an organization, they join a group, they join a masjid, they join whatever program, and they're fired up and they're burning themselves out, running after this program, left and right and left and right. And eventually, you know what happens? They get burnt out. They get completely burnt out. And when they burn out, they're never able to recover from that again. Keep a balance. Take it easy. You don't have to do everything in one weekend. You don't have to do everything in one summer. It's okay. You can keep it gradual. Keep up with it, inshallah ta'ala. But when you do things for the sake of Allah, and you get frustrated that you're not seeing results, like this talk. I was invited, and I said, okay, I'll come, Sunday night, no problem. Why not come Saturday night? Nobody's going to be here. You know what my first reaction was? So? I'm not coming here for you. Why am I coming here? There's a bigger reason. You're not paying me, who's paying me? Right? So if there's one person here, or 100 people here, or no one here, did I already get my credit if I had the right intention? I did, if I had the right intention. Why did you come here? If you came here because your friends are coming, because you got nagged into coming, because your ride isn't leaving so you're stuck here, then you got nothing. But if you were here, say, what your intention was, I'm going to remember Allah tonight. I'm going to come closer to Allah tonight. Even the wait, when there was nothing going on here, did that count in your favor? Change of attitude, change of intention, right? It'll help you so much in life. Because when you do things, you'll pass out the flyers, and you will invite people, and nobody will show up, and you'll say, oh, people don't listen. You won't be frustrated. You know why? Why were you passing out the flyers? Why were you sending the invitations? Where did you put the expectations with? Your job is the effort, his job is the results. You're not in charge of the results. When you internalize that, life becomes so much easier. And you become more satisfied with yourself. You don't become frustrated, oh, there were only a few people there. There could have been more. Yes, there could have been more, but that's in the hands of Allah. Did I do my part? Did I make enough effort? That's the only question to ask. And were my efforts seriously for the sake of Allah? That's the question to ask. These things I bring up because intentions are not something you make once. There was one time in your life you made the intention you're going to serve Allah's religion. You're going to become a better Muslim. You made that intention, but that intention can get rusty. So you got to keep going back. You got to keep fixing it. And everybody else thinks your intention is strong because they only see what? The outside. What don't they see? The inside. And because they see the outside, they tell you, you're pretty good, man. And you start believing them too. So you're only making the problem worse for yourself. The first remedy was remembering Allah. The second remedy, find better company. Find company of people that are better than yourself. The third remedy, important remedy, learn to keep your mouth shut. Learn to keep your mouth shut. If you see something really bad, find a humble way of giving advice to a Muslim. Think, are the words I'm going to say to them, are they going to make them even more averse to the religion? Or should I find some loving, soft way of slowly pulling them back without compromising the principles? But can I bring them closer to the deen? Maybe change their company, maybe change of scenery, maybe if they heard a little bit of advice. You don't want to change their behavior first. You want to change what first? Their heart. Once their heart changes, behavior will change automatically. Most of the time we go after people's what? We go after their behavior. You can't change people's behavior. You can only remind them and hope that Allah changes their hearts. Right? Your job is to remind. فَذَكِّرْ. The messenger sees people doing shirk, People doing kufr. And Allah is telling him year after year after year, فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى. Remind them, reminder will have benefit. The man sallallahu alayhi wasallam is doing da'wah to the same bunch of really bad people for 10 years, and Allah keeps telling him, remind, it's going to have benefit. Remind, it's going to have benefit. You remind someone, it doesn't have benefit, you know what you say? I reminded him, he didn't listen. That guy's not going to benefit from a reminder. Look at the seerah of the messenger. How often does he remind sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And Allah keeps telling him, you may not see the benefit. You may not see the benefit. But is there still benefit? There is. And who's the first person who benefits from sincere reminder? The one who gives the reminder. Who is it benefiting first? You yourself. Because you are accepting that the words are coming from you, but the effect will come from where? From Allah Azza wa Jal. And if your words didn't have any effect, then maybe there was something wrong with who? You. Your first reaction shouldn't be there's something wrong with him. He didn't listen to me. That's not your first reaction. You know the Messenger ﷺ, and this is the last comment I'll make. When he gave advice when he gave da'wah to the people and they didn't accept, one of the thoughts that crept into the Messenger's mind was, maybe I'm not doing my job right. Maybe I could have said it better. And Allah Azza wa Jal reminds him, no, you're doing your job right. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You just keep warning, you just keep reminding. Don't worry about the results, just keep doing what you're supposed to do. Do what you're supposed to do. You know, along these lines, the last ayat that came to mind, I should share it with you because it's important in this issue, inshallah ta'ala. 2 ayat, one from Shura, one from Surah Shura, Surah number 42, and another ayah in which the Messenger is given advice in Surah Al-Imran. So 2 ayat. In Surah Shura, وَمَا تَفَرَّقُوا إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمُ بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ. They didn't disagree with each other until after knowledge came. They didn't disagree with each other until after knowledge came. So who's disagreeing now? Knowledgeable people. Knowledgeable in what? Knowledgeable in what? Science, physics, chemistry, biology. What are they knowledgeable in? The religion. Knowledgeable in the book. Knowledgeable in the sunnah. And what are they doing after that knowledge? Falling into disagreement. Why? Allah gives the reason too. بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ. Out of an urge to dominate over each other. They had this urge, they want to feel superior, and what's their weapon by which they feel superior? Knowledge of the religion. They turn that into a means by which they can inflate their ego. SubhanAllah. What a horrible crime. And it's that ayah where Allah Azza wa Jal, by the end, He says, وَلَوْلَا كَلِمَةٌ سَبَقَتْ مِنْ رَبِّكَ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى لَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ. Had it not been that a time had been appointed for them from ahead of time, meaning had it not been that Allah had already decided when they will be punished, their matter would have been dealt with immediately. They would have been punished right away. This is a high crime. This is a high crime that they're doing. Using the weapon to disagree, the knowledge as a weapon to disagree with each other, not for any other sincere reason except ego. A horrible, may Allah protect us from that crime. Especially our youth, man, youth culture in this country. You're playing ball, somebody blocks your shot, what happens? The next play, you better avenge and revive your dignity because the tribe will look down upon you, right? There's this culture, how dare you against me? It's not just a sport, it's a test of ego, right? Somebody cuts you off on the road, what gets enraged? You, with your Honda Civic, pass me by, me with the M5? No, I will show you. I will express my supremacy very, very soon. I'm going to floor it and show you how it's done. What is that a show of? Ego. Constantly in our culture, we're being sent the message: inflate your ego. It's all about you. It's all the songwriter, the singer, my chain, my hat, my shoes, my socks, whatever. All about me, me, me. You can't touch me. You can't look at me. You can't look at me in the eye. I'm going to do this to you. Then I'm going to do that to you. What's this about? What's the whole message? Ego. Worship of the self. That's all it is. That's really what it boils down to. And this deen is only a deen for those who humble themselves before Allah. Right? So that's very, very important message of this ayah. The last ayah, Al-Imran. And especially for those who are in a position of leadership. Those of you that others look up to. Those of you that know and think even that you have more knowledge than others. Allah tells His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. It is by the special favor and mercy of Allah that you, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are lenient towards them, meaning the Sahaba. It's a special mercy from Allah that you, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are lenient towards them. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ. If you were tough, harsh of the heart, if you were stiff with them, if you were arrogant towards them, if you were even hard, rough around the edges when you talk to them, if you were, stern with them, لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. They would have dispersed away from you. They, who's they? Sahaba would have ran away from you. Who's you? The Messenger ﷺ. Can you imagine the Sahaba running away from the Prophet? Allah didn't say if you didn't call to the truth, they would run away. If you stopped teaching them Qur'an, they would run away. If you didn't present, the wahi, they would run away. What would the Messenger do that would make them run away? He's still teaching Qur'an, he's still giving the truth, everything's the same. What's the only thing that changed in the ayah that would make them run away? He's tough to them, he's harsh with them. That would be enough and they would run away. SubhanAllah. What a message Allah is teaching His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If that's the message to the most amazing leader, you don't think it applies most to us? It applies enormously to, if you're in any position of leadership, and if I was to ask for a show of hands, don't raise your hands, rhetorically, if I was to ask for a show of hands, how many people are in a position of leadership? You know what? All of you should be raising your hand. You're all in a position of leadership. You're all in a position where you should be able to give counsel to someone, and that's fine. But how do you give that counsel? Especially if they're Muslim. Instead of making them more averse to the religion, learn to be a little more tolerant. Don't justify wrong behavior. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you see some haram, call a spade a spade. Look, this is haram. I worry about you. And there's ways of saying it, right? You know you're going to hell for doing that, right? That's one way of saying it. Man, you should be ashamed of yourself. You do that. That's one way of saying it. Bro, I'm really worried about you. Seriously? Why? You know that's bad. And I love you, man. Why do you do it? You need help? I mean, why really? Just stop, man. Let's talk about it. Sincere, yarhamukallah. Right? Let's talk about it. Sincerity. It shows, The way you talk to people, it shows if you're sincere, or you're just trying to pass comments on them to, just put them down. There's a difference. There's a difference in how we talk. أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. They're humble, powerless when they present themselves to believers. That's the attitude in the Qur'an. But then finally, how do you know for sure you are sincere? It's in the ayah, and we're done. In that same ayah, فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. After they mess up, and you're lenient towards them, if they mess up, number one, forgive them lovingly, فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ. Then ask Allah to forgive them. Asking Allah to forgive them is not, some brother does something bad and you say, hey, by the way, may Allah forgive you. That's not فَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. When should you ask Allah to forgive them? When you're asking Allah to forgive yourself, in private. Because the private dua is what? Sincere. That's sincere. In front of everyone, by the way, bro, you're pretty messed up, but may Allah forgive you. I make dua for you. That's not what the ayah is saying. That's actually a show of what? Arrogance, ego. Make sincere dua for them in private. فَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. And then to make them feel like you think of them as a decent person, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Consult them and take their opinion. Ask their opinion. Treat them like a decent person. The Messenger ﷺ doesn't need anybody's shura. He makes decisions based on revelation. Allah commanded him to consult them in decision making. Why? So they would feel what? Included, dignified. This is the characteristics of a leader.